Welcome back, YouTube viewer. Do not adjust your television sets. The picture is crystal clear. This is what I look like now. And this video is going to be about me now at 45 years old, adjusting to the world of three dimensions. Because according to my eye doctor, I had been living 40 plus years of life on this planet, oblate spheroid Earth, in only two dimensions. And I haven't been that shocked by what someone of authority was telling me. I can't even remember. Normally I already know what someone in authority is going to fucking tell me. So to be surprised by what they say is novel for me. And I almost fell off the, examination chair when he said the words, "You've been running a marathon on one leg." Because my right eye has been shot for my entire life. And I remember going to the shooting range with my father and him telling me to look down the sight with both eyes. And I was like, which sight? Because there's many of them. What? It all makes sense now. Because when that doctor put the glass over my right eye and I could see, it was like a magic trick, right? So anyway, I said I gotta make a video about joining I don't want to say whatever, the nerds. I've made that joke a lot. I got glasses jokes now. I got jokes about glasses and observations. And one of the epiphanies I've had recently is that comedians are not funny. I'm not funny. I just tell the truth. And society is at a point where we are so bass-ackwards and fucked up that the truth is hilarious. The more truth you tell, the funnier you are as a comedian. But that's all it is. We live in such deceptive conditions with just lies. Everywhere we look is a lie. When someone gets up on stage with a microphone and a spotlight on them and they expose the truth, our little, defense mechanism or coping mechanism is to laugh at it. Because, you don't want to have to actually think about it. Anyway, unlike most of my videos where I cannot stand editing or following a script, this one, I wanted to almost make like a formal stand-up routine in that, like I wrote down, I don't want to get to the end of the video. And be like, oh man, I forgot to talk about that. And then like go back in and splice it in like these amateurs do. So anyway, and I thought about it. Am I going to make them privy to the program? Yes, I am. I'm going to show it to you. Now, I might not go in order, but we're going to touch on all these subjects. Okay? You can pause here because I'm not going to hold it up for as long as you can read it. Okay? There we go. Okay. I will go with the first one there. Adjusting them. Okay, so I noticed that, they don't stay perfectly on your face. So every once in a while, if you're doing an activity or what have you, you got to make a little. And then, as I, like every other human, I wonder how other people are perceiving me, how this looks. All these, maneuvers that I've never had to do in my life before, right? Except for when I was very young. I was like 3, 4, or 5. The last time my parents were able to make me wear a pair of glasses. That's a whole nother video, right? So anyway, I'm thinking about the adjustment. And then I'm always auditing myself. I noticed that like I'd be doing something and I didn't need the adjustment, but does it look cool? I don't know. Do I look like I'm being smart? I don't know. But I said to myself, whoa, 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 you cannot do that behavior. If your glasses do not actually need to be adjusted, do not adjust them. Do not be like one of those guys with a beard that I cannot stand. That, like, they use their beard as punctuation to a sentence. Like, hey, Bob, how are you doing today? You know, well, Jim, I had a little late day at the office, so I took an early lunch. Now, let me also like be honest here and upfront and say that like it's the exact same way when a woman. Now, now there is functions to this. If there's something in your beard and you have to like go for it and fish it out or whatever, right? Or if you have an itch, you want to scratch or whatever, okay. But obviously that ain't the case all the time. And the same thing with the chicks. Like if you've got some gum in your hair or a little, tangle or whatever, go at it. Be my guest. But I see, most of that time they're just sitting there, their hair's fine, everything's fine, and they're just. And it's like a stroking, groping, what's the word I'm looking for? Calming, I guess, like to calm you down. You know how like when humans get stressed, they touch their face. It releases chemicals that calm you down. So waiting at the doctor in the doctor's office could like give you some anxiety, so you could like you know those ticks. They I tolerate them, of course. Like they're a part of the human experience and behavior, but I'm just like, I do not want to participate. I like to think that my brain controls my body. I like to think that. So, and I also like to think that like I'm captain up here of the brain. I'm not like a lieutenant or a manager or some sort of administrative role. I'm the fucking CEO. Okay, nothing happens up here without going through me. Okay, so I caught myself, and I ain't gonna be. No, I am not gonna be one of those fucking incel beard strokers. This is all the touching you're ever gonna get. All right. Anyway, next. So my peripheral vision. I'm a poker player. I'm a basketball player. I play golf. I play chess. I'm a player. No. I like games. I like using my eyes. And I used to think that I could see really well out of the without you knowing I'm looking at you, right? Really good peripheral vision, and I think it takes practice, or maybe I have some genetics. I don't know, but like I think I spent a lot of time, from poker looking at people without them knowing I'm looking at them, right? Like I'm staring straight ahead, and you're over here, and I am focused on you over here, even though my eyes are straight ahead. Okay? Well, now I have like a filter on my world, on my existence. Okay? Before glasses, there's nothing in my way of this eye looking that way, this eye, whatever, perceiving the peripheral. Now, I notice in driving when I go to change lanes, I can't just do, I check the mirror and then I physically double check, right? I always check the mirror, then I double check with my own eye. And now, like, I gotta move my head more. I used to be able to just do this and I can see. Now I gotta do this. So I guess, maybe my neck is becoming more flexible because of glasses, but I would say that my overall vision has been reduced. My perception of the world is, if it was 100% before, it's 95 now. Like, I have this fucking frame around the world now. The world has been framed for me. Yes, it's clear and making things I can read, without holding things away now. But, I couldn't help but think that, like, I see the world now less than I did before. Or, well, maybe the doctor might argue differently. All right, maybe I don't see less. No, I do see less. But what I see is more focused. Okay, so let's, that's accurate. So I see less, but what I do see, I see clearer. Okay. That makes me feel better because I didn't feel that good about having a filter over my face. It didn't sit well with me. You know what I mean? Okay. So today's Monday. I got these glasses last Tuesday, so tomorrow will be 7 days, a week. And like the physical part of wearing them doesn't bother me. I've been a machinist most of my life, so I've always worn safety glasses. So I've always wearing glasses is not foreign to me, even though, isn't my favorite thing to do. But for my job, I've had to wear safety glasses often, right? But anyway, I'm sitting on the couch the day after I got my glasses. And my cat jumps up on the couch and lays down next to me. And I look over and I'm like, what the? Like, my cat is fat. Polly is fat. And I did not know when I was living in 2 dimensions that my cat eats too much kibs. Now, Howie is the epitome of athleticism, not an ounce of body fat on him. Sinewy. Just walking anatomy example of cat, right? That's what Howie is. Polly has the fur of 2 cats, and now I can see that, like, it's not just fur. He's been hitting the kibs. And I love him. I love Polly. He's so sweet. But yeah, I never knew that Polly was fat. And then I went to poker and I saw all my friends were much uglier than I had remembered. And I feel bad for Ralphie because he sat next to me the first night that I had glasses, and I was like, damn, Ralphie. I'm sorry, Ralphie, but that joke made itself. You got unlucky in that you sat next to me and I got to talk about how ugly you were. That's my fault. But anyway, I'm a slave to humor, or a slut to humor, whatever you want to call it. That's a more tasteful analogy, If it's going to make you laugh, I'm probably going to do it. As long as it's tasteful. Right? Sluts can be tasteful. I'm not going to dip down into toilet humor. I stopped laughing at that in like 5th grade. Maybe even before that. We're going on a tangent here. Next subject. So while sitting on the couch, while I saw that my cat is fat, I also saw that commercials seemed convincing for the first time in my life. I was like, oh my God. This product is like popping off the screen. It is like so cool. The pixels are like enthralling me. I am like compelled to stick around for the next commercial because it could be even better. Yeah, that was, like I said, I'm living in 3D now, you know? I got them 3D glasses. I can't wait to not watch an eclipse with my glasses. I've been not watching eclipses without my glasses. I've been missing out. I cannot wait to ignore the next eclipse with these babies. Hoo hoo hoo. All right. So yeah, now that I have to wear these glasses, I tried to put a hat on. Now, when I went and got the glasses and I put them on, the lady's like, "Do you feel any pain? Do you feel any pain? Do you feel any pressure? I can adjust them. Do you feel the glasses?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're fine. You're good. You guys did some measurements beforehand, and you must have been correct because I feel good. I don't feel nothing." And still to this day, I've not, a week later, whatever, there's been no adjustments. I love them. They don't even feel like, although I do get marks. I got the marks. Alonzo told me that at poker. He's like, "Oh, you're going to get these little marks." And I'm like, "Ugh. Yeah, but I'm old and they're battle scars now." So I tried to put on a hat because I'm a hat guy, right? And not so much because I'm a bald guy. I don't care. I've been shaving my head since 15 years old, voluntarily, okay? And I had a career somewhere in between where, I wasn't allowed to cut my hair, and my hair was like a big, highlight of my existence. But now, after I, that was a brief 2 or 3 year period of time, and I went back to shaving my head. And I was wearing a hat not because I want to cover my dome. My dome is ideal, okay? I don't have a misshapen head like some of my friends. Lots of jokes there, but I won't go. It's not that. It was so much as, your head gets cold or this radiation from the sun, and also hats are cool. Even before I was shaving my head, when I was in middle school, I loved wearing hats because they were cool. You could, rep your team or whatever, right? Or your fishing lure. So I've always been a hat guy. And I put a hat on with glasses, and I almost cannot describe the pain that immediately washed over. It started here and then just started to spread all over my head to the point where I was like, ah! Took the hat off and it went away immediately. So I've been talking to by the way, if you wear glasses now, I'm like, I was at Bass Pro Shops and the kid Christian checking me out wearing glasses. I was like, "So Christian, how long you been wearing those glasses?" And he's like, "Oh, since I was 12. I'm like, "Okay, I got some questions for you." What do you do when it rains? Do they just get wet? He's like, "Yeah, they just get wet." I'm like, "That's bullshit." But anyway, I want to keep going. I asked him, "Can you wear a hat?" And he goes, "Yeah, but, not like you used to." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit." So, apparently, there's hats that are my hat's dirty. My hats are experienced, okay? I should wash them. But anyway. I always thought this hat was, too short, But now I understand why they have these short hats. They're so guys that have glasses don't have to have, a crazy headache. You know what I mean? I can have it on there and not feel like I want to die. Although, I will say, after being 90% of a hat person, 90% if I'm outside of the house, I'm wearing a hat, right? I will say that my head has appreciated the change in atmosphere. Now, I still can't go out in the sun for very long, right, without covering it up. But just being out in the open and feeling the air, I can tell that my skull and the skin on top of my skull skin is happy. That it's getting circulation. air, not such stagnant environment, right? So that's been a benefit, I guess. Even though I'm also walking around naked up here, and like one of my friends, Joe, was like, he thought I like shaved my head with a bic, like I was one of those guys, and I was quick to dispel that. I was like, listen, I use an electric razor on zero, so yes, it's very short, but I would never, ever care so much about my dome that I would get shaving cream and an actual razor and attempt what I do on my face. Okay, this is hard enough. I can't, and why I don't know. Now he claimed Zen, and he's married with kids, so he's looking for Zen. Okay, I ain't. I get Zen whenever I want, right? Okay, now on to the last subject. How I look to strangers, because how I look to friends and family. You guys know me. I've presented myself in plenty of wacky outfits and things like that. So nothing really can throw you. You guys are like, yeah, that's Don, right? Don's wearing glasses now. Yeah, that's fucking Don, right? But strangers, I notice now that I have glasses and no hat, that I'm getting different looks. And Tiffany said I look distinguished. And I don't know if I've ever looked distinguished in my entire life without like someone else putting together the outfit, right? And putting me in some sort of scene where everything is manipulated to make me look distinguished, right? And then maybe I can pull it off, right? But I usually run or idle at the opposite of distinguished, like suspicious is what I look like to the average human stranger, okay? Like, whoa, suspicious. Tall man with no wedding ring, looking old but young at the same time, wearing weird clothes, but you're using you have a credit card, you seem responsible, yet irresponsible. I don't know what to think of that. You know what I mean? Like, I would say the look I get from strangers is confusion. They don't know how to process this. Okay? Well, that's how it used to be. Now I have these fucking things. So like my eyes are not right at you. Like, boom, what's good? What's good? What you been thinking about for your life? Tell me. Now I don't have that anymore. I got this. What is this? This is like, I work at Trader Joe's. Or, I'm sorry, I said a brand name. Fuck. Pay me. I'm slipping. Seriously, I'm wearing glasses and I'm fucking dropping brand names during videos that I will not edit. I refuse to edit these videos where I'm talking. You know what I mean? Because that implies, like, in real life, there's things that, like, you don't need to hear if I'm talking. It's not true. When I'm fishing, I have to edit my fishing videos. Do you want to see me take 50 cats where I catch nothing? Like... Although I already did have the idea that I am going to release a fishing video where I do not edit. But I'll be conscious of it, so I will talk throughout the video and give you some form of entertainment, so it's not just me in silence, because that's a lot of my fishing is me in silence. Hence the Zen. I ain't chasing Zen, right? So, that's it. I wear glasses now. Get fucking used to it. These are my far away glasses. I got my reading glasses. Hold on. These are when I want to see up close. And I will say this, dude, about reading. I thought I read fast before. Now that I like, how do I describe how, I can make a whole video on just like talking about how I read. And it's like I don't know, man. It's like hard to describe. It's a magical act, reading, because there's so much brain activity going on, and I can't pinpoint all of it, right? But I can tell you that for me in reading, there's a lot of anticipating, and part of anticipating is analyzing, right? All of what you have read, what you are reading. How can I sum this up? I am anticipating much more accurately now that I can see ahead clearer than when I was looking ahead before. Because when you are reading, and especially I will talk about when I'm reading out loud, right? It's like a performance. When you're reading out loud, you're talking the words in front of you. I'll speak for myself, but I am reading ahead. I am looking ahead and I am reading ahead in my head while reading out loud in real time. And I've noticed that my reading ahead now is way more accurate. I don't miss a word anymore. Whereas before, I'm reading ahead and like I kind of have to guess a little at some words because I'm not reading it completely. It's like a scan almost, right? And my scanner was kind of blurry. So, because I'm reading it physically with my good eye, my left eye, and my right eye I was probably using, like I said, to go ahead, to get ahead. To read well out loud, you have to be ahead, in my opinion, of your voice. So you can make adjustments. This is a tangent. I'm sorry about that.